Okay, chapter 5, the mental universe. The universe is mental, held in the mind of the all, the Kybalion. The all is spirit, but what is spirit? This question cannot be answered for the reason that its definition is practically that of the all, which cannot be explained or defined. Spirit is simply a name given that men simply a name that men give to the highest concept of infinite living mind. It means the real essence. It means living mind, as much superior to life and mind as we know them, as the latter are superior to mechanical energy and matter. Spirit transcends our understanding, and we use the term merely that we may think or speak of the all for the purposes of thought and understanding. We are justified in thinking of spirit as infinite living mind, at the same time acknowledging that we cannot fully understand it. We must either do this or stop thinking of the matter at all. Let us now proceed to a consideration of the nature of the universe as a whole and in its parts. What is the universe? We have seen that there can be nothing outside of the all. Then is the universe the all? No, this cannot be, because the universe seems to be made up of many and is constantly changing, and in other ways it does not measure up to the ideas that we are compelled to accept regarding the all. As stated in our last lesson, if the universe be not the all, then it must be nothing. Such is the inevitable conclusion of the mind at first thought. But this will not satisfy the question, for we are sensible of the existence of the universe. Then, if the universe is neither the all nor nothing, what can it be? Let us examine this question. If the universe exists at all, or seems to exist, it must proceed in some way from the all. It must be a creation of the all, but as something can never come from nothing, from what could the all have created it? Some philosophers have answered this question by saying that the all created the universe from itself, that is, from the being and substance of the all. But this will not do, for the all cannot be subtracted from, nor divided, as we have seen. And then again, if this be so, would not each particle in the universe be aware of its being? The all could not lose its knowledge of itself, nor actually become an atom, or blind force, or a lowly living thing. Some men, indeed, realizing that the all is indeed all, and also recognizing that they, the men, existed, have jumped to the conclusion that they and the all were identical, and they have filled the air with shouts of "I am God," to the amusement of the multitude and the sorrow of sages. The claim of the corpuscle that "I am man" would be modest in comparison. But what indeed is the universe, if it not be the all, not yet created by the all, having separated itself into fragments? What else can it be? Of what else can it be made? This is a great question. Let us examine it carefully. We find here that the principle of correspondence, see lesson 1, comes to our aid here. The old Hermetic axiom, as above, so below. May we be pressed into service at this point. Let us endeavor to get a glimpse of the workings on the higher planes by examining those on our own. It's important. The principle of correspondence must apply to this as well as to other problems. Let us see. On his own plane of being, how does man create? Well, first, he may create by making something out of outside materials. But this will not do, for there are no materials outside of the all with which it may create. Well, then, secondly, man procreates or reproduces his kind by the process of begetting, which is self multiplication, accomplished by transferring a portion of his substance to this offspring. But this will not do, because the all cannot transfer or subtract a portion of itself, nor can it reproduce or multiply itself. In the first place, there would be a taking away, and in the second case, a multiplication or addition to the all, both thoughts being an absurdity. There is no third way in which man creates. Yes, there is. He creates mentally. And in so, he uses no outside materials, nor does he reproduce himself, and yet his spirit pervades the mental creation. Following the principle of correspondence, we are justified in considering that the all creates the universe mentally, in a manner akin to the process whereby man creates mental images. And here is where the report of reason tallies precisely with the report of the illumined, as shown by their teachings and writings. Such are the teachings of the wise men, such was the teaching of Hermes. The all can create in no other way except mentally, without either using material, and there is none to use, or else reproducing itself, which is also impossible. There is no escape from this conclusion of the reason which, as we have said, agrees with the highest teaching of the illumined. Just as you, student, may create a universe of your own in mentality, so does the all create universes in its own mentality. But your universe is the mental creation of a finite mind, whereas that of the all is the creation of infinite. The two are similar in kind, but indefinitely different in degree. We shall examine more closely into the process of creation and manifestation as we proceed, but this is the point to fix in your minds at this stage. The universe and all it contains is a mental creation of the all. Verily, indeed, all is mind. The all creates in its infinite mind countless universes, which exist for eons of time, and yet to the all, the creation, development, decline, and death of a million universes is the time of the twinkling of an eye. The Kybalion. The infinite mind of the all is the womb of the universe, of the universes. The Kybalion. The principle of gender, see lesson 1 and other lessons to follow, is manifested on all planes of life, material, mental, and spiritual. But, as we have said before, gender does not mean sex. Sex is merely a material manifestation of gender. Gender means relating to generation or creation, and wherever anything is generated or created on any plane, the principle of gender must be manifested. And this is true even in the creation of the universes. Now, do not jump to the conclusion that we are teaching that there is a male and female God or creator. That idea is merely a distortion of the ancient teachings on the subject. The true teaching is that the all in itself is above gender, and it is above every other law, including those of time and space. It is the law from which the laws proceed, and it is not subject to them. But when the all manifests on the plane of generation or creation, then it acts according to law and principle. for it is moving on a lower plane of being, and consequently, it manifests the principle of gender in its masculine and feminine aspects on the mental plane, of course. This idea may seem startling to some of you who hear it for the first time, but you have already passively accepted it in your everyday conceptions. You speak of fatherhood of God and the motherhood of nature of God, the divine Father and the nature of the universal mother, and have thus instinctively acknowledged the principle of gender in the universe. Is this not so? But the Hermetic teaching does not imply a real duality. The all is one. The two aspects are merely aspects of manifestation. The teaching is that the masculine principle manifested by the all stands, in a way, apart from the actual meaning of creation of the universe. It projects its will toward the feminine principle, which may be called nature, whereupon the latter begins the actual work of the evolution of the universe from simple centers of energy onto man, and then on still on higher, and accordingly to well-established and firmly enforced laws of nature. If you prefer the old figures of thought, you may think of the masculine principle as God, the Father, and the feminine principle as nature, the universal mother, from whose womb all things have been born. This is more than a mere poetic figure of speech, but is an idea of the actual process of the creation of the universe. But always remember that the all is but one, and that in its infinite mind the universe is generated, created, and exists. It may help you to get the proper idea if you will apply the law of correspondence to yourself and your own mind. You know that the part of you which you call I, in the sense, stands apart and witnesses the creation of mental images in your own mind. The part of your mind in which the mental generation is accomplished may be called me, in distinction from the I, which stands apart and witnesses and examines the thoughts, ideas, images of me, as above, so below. Remember, and the phenomena of one plane may be employed to solve the riddles of higher or lower planes. Is it any wonder that you, the child, feel that instinctive reverence for the all, which feeling we call religion, that respect for reverence for the Father mind? Is it any wonder that when you consider the works and the wonders of nature, you are overcome with a mighty feeling which has its roots away down into your innermost being? It is the mother mind that you are pressing close up to, like a babe to the breast. Do not make the mistake of supposing that the little world you see around you, the earth, which is mere grain of dust in the universe, is the universe itself. There are millions upon millions of such worlds and greater, and there are millions of universes in existence within the infinite mind of the all. Even in our own little solar system, there are regions and planes of life far higher than ours, and being compared to which we earthbound mortals are as the slimy life forms that dwell on the ocean's bed when compared to man. There are beings with powers and attributes higher than man has ever dreamed of the gods possessing, and yet these beings were once as you, still lower, and you will be even as they, and still higher in time, for such is the destiny of man as reported by the illumined. the death is not real, even in its relative sense. It is but birth to new life. You shall go on and on and on to higher and still higher planes of life for eons upon eons of time. The universe is your home, and you shall explore its farthest recesses before the end of time. You are dwelling in the infinite mind of the all, and your possibilities and opportunities are infinite, both in time and space. And at the end of the grand cycle of aeons, when the all shall draw back into itself all of its creations, you will go gladly, for you will then be able to know the whole truth of being at one with the all. Such is the report of the illumined, those who have advanced well along the path, and in the meantime rest calm and serene. You are safe and protected by the infinite power of the Father-Mother mind. Within the Father-Mother mind, mortal children are at home, the Kybalion. There is not one who is fatherless nor motherless in the universe, the Kybalion. So, that is chapter 5, the mental universe. And it goes to talk about spirit as being the real essence of everything, because spirit is everywhere. And it's about the closest thing, I guess you could say, to the all, because, the all is inclusive of everything, including spirit, mind, body, soul, everything. All the material that we see, everything. It also says that gender is manifested in all parts of the universe. We say like the father mind, and we say, Mother Nature. This is good because no one is fatherless, no one is motherless. You shouldn't feel alone because you are connected. I mean, this is the truth. This is the reality. I think that some of us might not feel such a connection because we have been conditioned to be cut off from this connection. If you can't come to know yourself and love yourself, then you won't be able to recognize anything else, and you won't be able to love anything else. You'll only be able to love as much as you know love, and again, it's an internal processing. So it's saying, I'm the artist, and so I get an easel and I get some paints, and then I stretch some canvas and I start painting, and look, I've created a work of art. But the easel and the paint and the canvas is all within the all. So I'm not really creating anything. I'm just kind of like changing different, just taking things from one state and changing them into the next. Same with martial arts. I'm using my arms to throw punches. I'm using my whole body, as a I'm using my whole body as a way to express what is really going on. that's what, there's something so special about fighting, because you have to be true. You have to be true. I mean, if you're not true, you'll be found out. And so it's almost like, whoever knows themselves the most, will be more confident because they know their capabilities. They're not in disillusion with, I'm not in disillusion with my capabilities. I'm good at striking, but I'm not very good at wrestling. So I have to work on that. But if I lied to myself and said that I could wrestle the crap out of people, then I would be disillusioning myself, and I would get beat up. So it's about, it's about trying to be real and get closest to that spirit. And again, like the chapter before said, spirit is the highest vibrating essence. So and how do we uh, manifest more spirit in our life? You want to be able to laugh and enjoy life, which is easier said than done, especially in today's world. But it's very important to be carefree and to enjoy life. Um, because that laughter will raise the vibration of spirit. It will literally heal you. You know, these feelings of joy and satisfaction, being thankful, being grateful, appreciating, the little things. If you practice this, because this is the practice, to distill the mind and get it to the most simplest form of just being and loving, So, like, that's the practice there. Here's the thing: we're so conditioned that it's easier said than done to wake up carefree and wake up feeling a sense of excitement about the day. When you have to go do a bunch of stuff that you don't feel like doing, and you have to go talk to a bunch of people that you don't feel like talking to, okay? So here's what you do. You work on yourself. This is what I've been driving around my car without a radio for almost 2 years. And I don't listen to the radio when I drive. I sit there and I spend time with myself. And I'll go out into the matrix and give my time and my energy away. And when I come back from the matrix, I will work on myself. I'll go exercise, so that way my heart rate can escalate. That way I can get a good sweat and sweat out all the toxins in my body. And then I'll take a nice shower and and wash my body and take care of my and wash my body and wash my feet, scrub my feet, and get the toxins out of my feet. I'll listen to music and sing in the shower. And I'll turn the shower on real cold towards the end of it and get the chills and cool down. And then I'll come out and I'll meditate for a little while and only focus on my breath and still the mind. And this is a practice. These are practices that have been devalued amongst popular culture because they want you to watch the fucking Kardashians, and they want you to believe that that the president and the politics is real, and they want you to bow down to their doctrine of religion. When these things are not real, they are not real. You guys can argue with me all you want that the president is a real person and that he has real influence. And I will just tell you that you're wrong and that the president is not real. Not as real as you and your affairs. I mean, and what I mean is, it doesn't matter about politics because it's screwed. You know, I applaud those people who are trying to fix it from the inside out. But this is what will create real change. If the individuals take on the responsibility of fixing themselves instead of putting the problems some far off land in Syria. Okay? So I would encourage you guys to never watch the news, to only listen to music which is uplifting, to only speak in an uplifting manner. Uh, you know, because it's all mental, and this is the act of transforming. What the Freemasons are trying to do, the crude man, the rough stone into a finely honed brick, you know, which can build, which you can build. You can't build a sturdy house or foundation with crude, crappy, unrefined material. Once you stop giving your power away to the external world, and you stop worrying about chasing girls, and you stop worrying about going out to the club, and you stop worrying about, what people think about you, and you just, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And again, this is easier said than done. I have been practicing this and training my mind for years. you know, if somebody was to try to bring you down, and they were to call you names and everything else like that, because and they call you names, and now you're not gonna call me that. You're not gonna call me that. You know who I am. You know who I am. Man, F you too, man. And now you're gonna get upset, right, because of some name calling, right? But if you've trained your mind, you'll be able to see that person is just not as stable as you are in mind, and that they're trying to attack you in order to bring you down. So you'll focus less on the shallow, which is the literal words that are being said to you, and you'll be able to look them in the eye and know that they're just upset. They're just upset. Who knows why they're upset? Maybe it could be for a whole number of reasons, and it probably is. But that doesn't mean that you have to let it affect you. You know? Like, if they show you hatred, you show them love. Oh, well, I'm sorry you feel that way about me, I care about you. Hope you feel better. Go in the fucking corner and cry yourself to sleep. I mean, that's how you have to treat this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, you're allowed to stand up tall, straighten your back out, have good posture, take deep breaths. You're allowed to live life, okay? It's okay. You're allowed to live and be who you are. You could be goofy as hell. You could be nerdy as hell. You could be any type of way that you are. And that's okay. And that's okay. Because they all made you like that. It's almost like we as people are the artwork of God, Like, but the art is so good that it's interactive. Like, what could be even better than that? There's so much to be thankful for, and so many blessings. I mean, you know, look, we have fruit that we can pluck from the tree and just eat it, You know what I mean? And it will replenish our bodies. It tastes sweet and it tastes good. You know, there's sacred geometry in all life, you know, and the sections of an orange or the triangle in jujitsu. It's throughout all life. It's throughout all life. And once you start to notice, take notice, you don't always have to have something to say. You can just listen. And if you can just listen and calm your mind, you'll see where other people have lapses and where the holes are, and you'll be able to build. It's about building. But the only real building is internal. You know, for the pyramids to get built, you know, and be withstanding for this long, that is taking some serious dedication. But even harder than to, conquer all the armies of all the land would be to conquer yourself. And and so that's what this is, you know. Is that chapter 5, the mental universe. Peace.